1939. Hell froze over. In the endless white expanse of Finland, the temperature plummets to minus 40 degrees. A tiny nation is invaded by one of the largest war machines in history, the Soviet Union. Millions of well-armed Soviet soldiers pour in, expecting a swift victory before Christmas. They have tanks, they have aircraft, they have endless numbers. They have no idea they just walked into one man's hunting ground. Among the terrified Soviet troops, a name begins to circulate in hushed, terrified whispers. They don't know his name, they don't know his face. They only know him as Belaya Smirt, the White Death. This is Whispers of the Past, and this is the true story of how one quiet farmer became the deadliest ghost the battlefield has ever seen. The man behind the legend was Simo Häyhä. Before the war, he was a farmer and a hunter. He stood just 160 centimeters tall, about 5 feet 3 inches. He was quiet, unassuming, and spent his days in the forest. When the Soviets invaded, Simo answered the call. He took his old Mosin Nagant rifle, put on his white camouflage, and vanished into the woods he loved. And this is where the story becomes unbelievable. This is the first truth revealed. Simo Häyhä refused to use a sniper scope. To a modern sniper, this sounds insane, but to Simo, it was genius. Fact 1. A scope lens reflects light. The smallest glint of sun on glass was a death sentence. Fact 2. A scope required him to lift his head higher from behind his cover. Fact 3. At 40 below, a lens could freeze over and fog up. So what did he use? Standard iron sights, from hundreds of meters away, in a blizzard, with iron sights. And he did not miss. His genius didn't stop there. He was a true ghost. He knew the muzzle blast from his rifle would kick up the snow in front of him, revealing his position. So, he would pour water on the snow in front of him, creating a solid block of ice. No dust, no trace. He knew his own breath could betray him. A warm plume of air would be perfectly visible in the frozen cold. So, Simo would keep a pouch of snow in his mouth, cooling his breath so it would never form a visible cloud. He moved like a whisper. He waited, sometimes for days, motionless, in the freezing silence. And then, another Soviet soldier would fall. In less than 100 days, his official count was 505 confirmed kills. 505. The highest total in the history of warfare. Soviet troops were paralyzed by terror. Morale was shattered. They weren't fighting an army, they were fighting a myth. The Soviet high command grew frustrated. How could one man halt entire battalions? They began to hunt him specifically. They sent their own elite sniper teams after the White Death. Simo hunted them first. They sent entire infantry squads to ambush him. He simply vanished. In desperation, they did the unthinkable. They began carpet bombing entire areas where he was suspected to be operating. Imagine, thousands of pounds of artillery just to silence one man. For months, Simo seemed untouchable. The ghost could not be caught. But on March 6, 1940, his luck ran out. The details are hazy, lost to the fog of war. But we know this. An explosive bullet from a Soviet sniper finally found its mark. It struck Simo in the jaw. The devastation was unimaginable. He was found by his comrades, lying in the snow, bloody, in a coma. Their first report was short and brutal. Half his face was gone. The White Death had finally fallen. But this legend refused to die. Simo Häyhä, the man whose face was shattered by an enemy bullet, survived. He woke from his coma 7 days later, on the very day the Winter War ended. Finland, miraculously, had maintained its independence. Though his face was permanently scarred by his wounds, Simo Häyhä lived a long and peaceful life. He returned to his quiet existence as a farmer and hunter. When asked, years later, if he regretted what he had done, he replied with his typical, stark simplicity. "I only did what I was told, as well as I could." He died peacefully in 2002 at the age of 96. Simo Häyhä's story is a reminder that wars are not always won by technology, but by intelligence, adaptation, and one man understanding his world better than his enemies. The truth has been revealed. This is Whispers of the Past. Subscribe for more hidden stories.